Now, this segment is with Seeley Medical, which is based out of Andover, right?
Correct.
Okay. And this is Jacqueline. And Jacqueline, I forgot your last name.
Martin.
Martin just told me a minute ago.
I'm going to write this down for you.
Thank you. And Kathy Malish, both who work for Seeley's. And how long have you been with them?
3 years.
3 years?
Oh, going on 15.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in sales, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm the territory sales representative.
Okay. I used to work with a girl that her family, her dad, I believe, was the original owner. Teresa Mills now, but she was Teresa Seeley.
Teresa Seeley.
Yeah.
Mario and Ann Seeley are the owners of Seeley Medical. Mario and Ann LeCoute, but
Yeah, right, right.
Ann is Ann Seeley.
Okay.
Her dad
Yeah.
owned Seeley Medical.
Yeah.
So now Mario and Ann are our owners, our current owners. And their son Anthony is now next generation owner of Seeley Medical.
Really?
So
Yeah.
it's all local. It's all here in Asheville County.
And so, and Seeley's does. I see the van or vehicle around. I mean, they deliver all this stuff, like all the needs that people need, not just for cancer patients, for everything.
Correct. We have an office in Andover. We also have offices in Euclid, Youngstown, Akron, Elyria. We're all over, but we always say that we're close to home because we come to your home.
Right.
A lot of the things can be shipped. We have recurring supplies for incontinence supplies, nutrition, Boost, Ensure, things of that nature. We also provide oxygen therapy, nebulizers, sleep therapy for obstructive sleep apnea, things like that. We have respiratory therapists on staff. We have nurses on staff. Jacqueline is with our breast mastectomy program. We have unique programs for pretty much everything to keep a patient or a person in their home, outside of the hospital, outside of a nursing home. So we're a full line home medical equipment company.
So
Beds,
do you
wheelchairs.
rent equipment, or is it all people have to buy it, or how
No,
is there a...
with durable medical equipment, it's all insurance driven.
Okay.
So Medicare is the biggest payer.
Oh, right.
Medicare usually will rent a lot of equipment, and then it's considered rent to own.
Okay.
So after so many months, you have the option to own it, or you can continue to rent it.
Right.
There's also oxygen specifically is considered usually always a rent until 3 years, and then it gets into a little bit of craziness. And Medicare's came out with a lot of new rules in the last in the last few years, but there's a lot of everything is prescription driven, and your insurance will pay for most everything, but there's always little areas that they won't pay for. Medicare has certain things that are covered, but Medicaid also has certain things that are covered. So really the best thing to do is talk to your physician. If they feel the need is there, then they'll write a prescription, and then you can they'll either contact Seeley Medical or the patient can contact us, and we'll let you know what your insurance typically will cover. But yeah, most everything is covered under some insurance in some way, shape, or form.
Jacqueline, are you solely with the mastectomy?
Yes. So my territory is actually all of Seeley's territory. So I see people in Euclid. I see people, here in Conneaut. And just how you were speaking about how you see the vans and do we go to the home? Well, I don't drive a van.
No.
I drive a cute car. But I actually, too, go right to someone's home.
Oh.
And that was a program that was brought on 3 years ago when I got hired. And it was to actually address exactly what your viewers called in about. The people that that these items are not accessible to them because maybe they can't travel 50 miles to the nearest boutique. Now we do have availability at each of our locations to see somebody if they don't want that home fitting, but that has been a very well received part of what we're doing, that we're able to come right to someone's home. It's very private. It's very discreet. Like I said, it doesn't say Seeley on it or anything. It's just me showing up and taking measurements, and usually we've done enough of the background work, such as getting the prescription from the physician, checking someone's insurance benefits, that before I even meet somebody, we've already done all of that, and that person knows exactly, do they have a copay, or is it 100% covered through their insurance? But most of the things that we're doing are insurance covered.
Now, the one particular phone call that I got, this is how Kathy found out about this. She had asked for undergarment products, okay? Apparently it had a mastectomy, and she didn't know where to get it. And there was a place she thought in Ashtabula, I guess that's not open anymore or something. And that's how your name came up with Seeley's, and I think that's what, and I never thought about that. I never thought about, you'd have to get certain products to supply a way to do that.
Well, and there used to be a time when, especially survivors themselves would be so touched by the absolute huge impact that it had on their lives, that they would, go and get the training, and they would open up these little, boutiques and everything. And the one that she's talking about in particular was that exact scenario. And when all of these guidelines and everything associated with the Affordable Health Care Act came into play, it really knocked those women that were so passionate and had such a personal story and really wanted to help people. They were no longer able to do that. I've been doing this since 2001. I've been board certified since 2003. And I have seen a ton of changes with the industry. But the only reason why I would be able to do what I'm doing and what I'm so passionate about is working under the aegis of Seeley Medical, that they already have their customer base and they're able to build someone's insurance. Even some of the places that are still that are still operating do not accept assignment for insurance. So that would mean that somebody who maybe just recently was diagnosed with cancer, and as we all know, cancer is very expensive, and it's a financial burden, would have to come up with money to purchase the items and then wait for reimbursement. And that's just not realistic in most people's economics. They need somebody to bill direct.
Now, did you have a family member or something? I mean, what made you so passionate about this, that you got into this type of...
I say that I've had, because every single woman that I've ever met is why I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. I actually started years ago in Florida, and I was a medical biller, and this was a part of the business that was done, and it was running a secret little corner, and it was just that, and I was always very interested. Yeah, I was always interested in doing it. And then one day, the owner of the company said, "You always seem so interested, and do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, yes." Right. And instead of it being that little secret in the corner, I built a boutique. And it's like if you build it, they will come. Right. They did. They did come. And we're just so happy to be able to do this for women who've had at whatever stage of their journey with cancer.
Because once you get over the shock of it,
yes,
and you get the treatment taken care of, and they say, okay, you're finished, then you start thinking, okay, now I want to be who I am, and I want to look the way I looked. I don't want to look. I don't want to look like a survivor. I want to look like me. That type thing. So this is.
And sometimes even someone who has maybe had reconstruction surgery, and it's been several years and they've never had a fitting, thinks that they are not eligible for this, and they are. Okay. They're whether you've had a lumpectomy, whether you've had reconstruction, a mastectomy, choosing to have reconstruction does not disclude you from getting the perfect fit. And a lot of times, if somebody, especially that has had maybe a double reconstruction, would need to know how do I now address this? What is the best bra that would be that would give me the best silhouette for my reconstruction, or if it was a unilateral surgery, one side, and as we age, things will change, but not on
Right,
the
not the
side.
reconstructed one.
And so we have some compensation equalizers, things that we can do to really make sure that somebody's always looking and feeling their best, because they'll feel better.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, you have some examples to show us.
I do.
Okay, a little show and tell.
Some pretties.
All right. We'll take a break, and then we'll be back with Kathy and Jacqueline right after this. Today, we're talking specifically about products that they sell regarding breast products and stuff for women that might have had a mastectomy, correct?
Or reconstruction,
Or
or
reconstruction.
lumpectomy.
Yeah, or
Nobody is excluded from the program, whether your your surgery was very recent or if it was 100 years ago. You're eligible with a prescription that we actually can request of your physician, so that you would be able to receive very beautiful supplies. And it's going to actually be cycling in nature, meaning that, for instance, Medicare allows 12 bras per year, which is 3 bras every 3 months. So we actually call somebody at that third month interval and say, how did everything fit? How's everything going? Do you need to have more supplies at this time? And keeping in touch, that constant touch with them. And if somebody doesn't need anything at that point, then I say, when would you like me to give you a call again? It gets to the point where because it's so personalized what we're doing and going into the home, that usually people really want to see me, and have coffee and
Right.
and things like that. Don't tell my boss. But I actually have a lot of fun.
Right. I think it's good. I mean, that really is, because it's it's so personal, and they probably want to get to know you personally before they.
Well, and it takes a tremendous amount of courage to take your shirt off in front of a complete and total stranger. I mean, that is that is just so courageous, and I always. I'm just always amazed by that. When somebody, not only invites me in their home to do the fitting, but also that, that this is just so personal in nature, and they have to feel comfortable,
Right.
with the person that's doing that. And I really feel like that has been my gift. That I never, when I was in high school, decided I wanted to do this. I feel like it chose me. It spoke so much to my spirit and so much to my heart. I've loved every single day of work, as a result.
That's super.
And what we really wanted to do, we wanted to make sure that women who have had surgery, or even a family or friend, because a lot of times it is somebody from that outside circle or the family that will inform somebody, you're able to get these items and they're through your insurance. But we wanted to make sure that maybe people understood that these are the same selections that you would find in an upscale boutique or even at a department store. Bras, just like clothing, go in and out of style. So we want to make sure that what we're giving somebody is the latest style, that they have, choices in maybe preference of if there's maybe a problem with dexterity, that they can put the bra in the front. Or that they have, usually used, I hear a lot of times, well, I used to wear a Victoria's Secret. And my answer is, you still can.
Right.
We
Those
still
are
have
nice.
items.
is that
Right.
considered a Victoria's Secret
It's-
thing?
yeah.
This would be.
Yes.
See the little pearls on there?
Yeah, yeah.
And just really pretty
And the
and in
lace,
fun
that's
colors.
right.
Sports bras, post-op garments. We just want to make sure that when we're presenting to somebody that we've learned a little bit maybe about their preferences, and that everything that we're giving them wows them. I don't want you just to like this.
Right.
I want you to be over the rooftop excited about what we were able to do for you.
Do you go to Madison, Ohio? Oh, okay.
And we have, what I wanted to show is a breast form, because all of our bras have a pocket on each side. Whoops. And in that pocket, if somebody has had surgery, that is where the breast form goes. Now, the breast form is worn so close to the body by that garment, the bra, holding it so close to the chest wall, that it does something which I call pass the hug test. It is taking on the temperature of the person wearing it. It's very natural. It has the same natural movement as breast tissue. And that has made, just a tremendous difference to somebody who has
Right.
recently lost a breast tragically to cancer. And this can be, even if somebody is going to have reconstruction, we have things to kind of go with them through their journey of reconstruction, different products so that they're able to receive everything that they're needing. And I wanted to pass this particular breast form around because of the little channels that are in the back. These are to keep the body cool, because silicone can trap heat, and that's something any viewer that has had a mastectomy and has worn a prosthesis will say, it feels hot. Well, technology is skyrocketing, and if you haven't had a fitting, it's time to do it, because of that. But very natural.
Wow, that is. I know, because sometimes after breast cancer, you're taking medications that, for instance, eliminate all estrogen from your body, which makes you hot.
Correct.
Too. So to have that type of thing in there is just, that is.
We even have a pad that is actually the same material that firemen wear that will repel heat, that can go in between the breast form and the person who's wearing it.
That's amazing.
Did, obviously, then they would come in different sizes.
And different colors. So
Really?
yes, and so part of why you would want to go see a certified fitter such as myself is so that somebody is taking those measurements, and we are not only addressing the type of surgery you had, and speaking about like how, activity level makes a difference in what you'd be choosing as well, but also different shapes. You have to make sure that we're going for symmetry. And so that somebody, we're going to either fit to that natural breast, or we're going to say, what cup size are you comfortable with, if she's had a double mastectomy, and try things on. And we will, and our goal is also to match that skin tone precisely. And I had been in some of the areas, other than around here, I haven't really seen it, but in some of the more like city areas that are real busy, that have a lot of competition, or places for people to go, that women of color were given a blush breast form. And that was a disservice, because you are eligible and can receive, we want to match up to the skin tone, because that's going to, even if nobody sees it, it's in a, and we want somebody to absolutely feel like this is a part of their anatomy.
I really learned something, because I've never known, I've never really thought about it, but I thought that with these, that they somehow were attached to your body, but it's really the bra that holds them. I guess I never knew that.
And there are different, breast forms that do have attachment. That is something that can be done. But a lot of times it really comes down to, your chest wall really has to be a certain way. And it's something that's offered. And definitely somebody should, ask about it. And it's an adhesive that it's almost like magic, because it will hold against the skin, but it leaves absolutely no residue. But very rarely do we do that. Usually it is this, because you're able to put it right inside of the...
Right.
And the different size, because there's different densities, natural densities and so forth that you have. That's amazing. I had no idea about this.
And so for someone who's had even a partial surgery, there are partial segments that can actually just fill in just that partial area, and so that somebody just feels their best.
Jacqueline, how often can you get the actual insert?
Well, and that's a tricky story. That it's technically every other year. However, certain things that happen don't mean that we have to follow that exact guideline. If somebody has had a weight loss, for instance, or something has happened that breast form no longer fits them, always give us a call so that we can research that through the guidelines and maybe get an authorization from the insurance. Another thing that a complimentary service that we do is fit for lymphedema compression garments, and I'm certified even in custom for lymphedema, and
that's the swollen,
which is very very often can follow a surgery of the breast.
How long after the surgery would a woman go into one of these?
About 6 to 8 weeks, but there are items that somebody can immediately receive, post-op recovery type of garments. The material itself is infused with aloe and vitamin E, so it's very beneficial for her to be wearing it. And instead of something like this, it would be more of a confidence boosting puff that's not going to irritate the chest wall, anything like that, and a detachable drain tube pouch that will be held up against her body for the drain tubes that that she has to wear.
My drain tube, we played where to put the tube, and if I had a skirt on, I'd hang it down, and wear a full skirt, and yeah, those are.
So it was really
awkward,
advanced.
right?
It was advanced now to have these garments with this little
Right.
pouch so that you could wear it up
That's
against
amazing.
your body, and it also protects the chest wall after just recently having surgery. Somebody is very, you don't want anybody to bump into you or
Right,
anything
you're
like
very
that.
cautious.
So you're not only giving somebody a beautiful silhouette, and I'm sure you even ran into this after your diagnosis, and if people knew you had surgery, they don't mean to, but they look down.
Right.
They don't mean to,
Right.
they don't mean anything by it, and I try to warn somebody if I've consulted with them before their surgery to expect that. Just so that you're not caught off guard, that it absolutely happens to everyone.
Right. I just know the second day I was home, after the surgery, that I woke up and during the night something in my drain, it looked like I'd been massacred in the bed. It was just, I think it was just like a blood clot or something. I have a friend whose daughter's a nurse, and she came over and cleaned it up and everything. But there's just so much, and mine was very minimal. But there's just so much that you're just, okay, now what's going to happen next?
Didn't you have a problem showering or something?
Well, you're not supposed to shower. I created my own little, I had a
That's what it
necklace
was.
that I would hook my drain, I called it my drain necklace, and sit in the tub and all that. But
Let's run to the patent office with that.
I
That's
know,
really
I
good
thought
idea.
about that. I did. I had a necklace and I hung it over, and I had a little one of those paper clips that I hooked it
That
up.
was a good idea.
And I'll tell you what I did. I kept a picture journal for myself, just and I put a little on my computer. I put a password on that, and so I said, now if I die and you give this computer to someone, but yeah, it's and this is amazing, and I certainly think that
I learned a lot
this
from
is
it.
going to
I
do
had
so
no
much
idea.
for women who are so traumatized by that kind of a diagnosis, to come out of it and to get ready to, like we went to a wedding reception when I had the drain in, but to be able to look in the mirror and say, okay, I look like me.
Yes.
It's, yeah.
That's the exact reason why most women will be motivated to give us a call. It's usually based on I want to feel like I'm myself again. I want to just
Right.
get past this diagnosis and get back with my life. But it's really important to mention that insurance pays for these items because it's actually medically necessary to do this.
Right.
You are not supposed to, although a lot of people say that they're a brave warrior, and this was
Right.
to not wear breast forms. It's actually very important to be balanced after breast surgery. There's a lot of nerve and fall problems that can occur.
Oh, right, sure. And you go through ups and downs too, as to how you feel about things and how your attitude and so forth. And that would certainly eliminate some of the deeper, ups and downs, deeper downs.
Do you have a phone number people could call you, or you, Kathy, too? I mean,
So a doctor or a patient can call you.
Correct.
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah, correct. And usually we say that, because our 800 number is 1-800, the number 4, and then spelling out Seeley, Seeley, which makes it kind of, easier and catchy
remember.
for someone.
For
that-
Seeley, right.
Yes.
1-800-4.
Four and then
Seeley.
Seeley. Now tell me, does a doctor have to write a prescription for this?
We actually send a detailed order. So once somebody has called me, I ask them, what's
Okay.
who's your physician?
Right.
Because even if the physician writes a prescription, very often someone's particular insurance wants something on there that's not on the prescription. So we do create it accordingly to what
Okay.
someone's insurance is needing, and then we're able to send it. Now with going into the home, and why I have a close relationship with Kathy, is that while in the home, somebody really might need something else. They might need a walker. They might need, oxygen. They're having shortness of breath, things like that. And Kathy's able to coordinate that with their physician so that they're, we don't want just, when I'm coming in there just to do this. We want to take care of somebody from head to toe, and part of their.
So you two basically work together.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So now, can Medicaid patients get
yes.
this? Okay.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Pretty much all insurances cover this type
Right.
of product. So if you're a viewer at home and say you had surgery years ago and you don't have, or you are in need of new garments and had no place to go, the first thing that I would recommend is to call our 800 number and tell them that you'd like to discuss this with Jacqueline, and then she pretty much takes the ball and runs with it.
Okay.
We've never really had any problems with the physician ordering or agreeing to sign a prescription. We can go to your primary care doctor, so your family practice doctor that you go to for a common cold. It can also be through your oncologist or your surgeon too as well, correct, Jacqueline? So if maybe you haven't went to your oncologist in 2 years or something of that nature, Jacqueline can go a different route and get it the appropriate prescription from the doctor that you are currently seeing. And then once that ball starts, the process starts. It's pretty
very fast.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's very seamless for the patient.
Right.
That one call, and then she pretty much does everything that's needed to get it covered by your insurance.
And weekend and after-hour appointments also occur. We try to tell people we work for you, and we don't want you to have to miss work or
Right.
anything like that. When's a good time?
And you also, I would imagine, you don't want women to get to a certain age and think, oh, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I just think, maybe a woman might feel that way. Maybe her husband or spouse or daughter or son should maybe take a step to get, because this
Encourage
it can
them.
only make you feel better,
Absolutely.
regardless.
I have just seen how this positively impacts somebody. Every single day of my job. Even people who think that this wasn't. And one of the best compliments that I usually receive is that they thought it was going to be scary. And make no doubt about it, I'm board certified, but I'm not going to show up in a white coat, and
Right.
we're not going to be
Right.
clinical.
And
this
this
is
is
about
nice.
it's more like a Tupperware. Like,
Right,
let's,
yeah,
just,
Tupperware,
let's just
right.
have pretty stuff. And
Yeah.
so,
Right.
often a girlfriend will be there,
Right.
a spouse, anybody is invited. When it is in someone's home like that, that allows that person to steer and make those decisions that
Right.
of what's going to make them feel better. Maybe even that they have a big event, a son getting married. And so by me being there, I'll say, go get the dress.
Right.
Let's try this
And
on and
try it
make
on
sure
with
that
the
you
dress.
feel, just beautiful.
When I was a young reporter at the News Herald many, many years ago, we had a darkroom gal, a lady, that had breast cancer, and she lost her one breast. And she sat down with me one day, and back then, those days, I was like 20 years old, and so it was beyond me. I had no clue about that stuff. But she explained to me what it does to a woman to lose a breast. And she goes, you probably don't know yet because you're too young to understand, but what it does to your mind, mentally, what it does to your husband, what that brings about. And she goes, you just lose some dignity with that until you get ways to, and I think she was referring to this, ways to bring yourself being back to the woman that you once were. And I was just a kid and I didn't understand. I understand more now today, just from today, on how you explained all this. And now I know, probably 40 years later, what she was trying to tell me,
But I think women nowadays are getting over that attitude because we're more than just a breast. I mean, it's...
Well, back in those days,
Yeah.
it wasn't that
Well,
crazy.
right.
And a
because
high
it was-
five to that.
Yeah,
Yes,
back in those
that is
days,
true.
the women were still put in the back room, unfortunately.
I
And
had
that's
a-
all
yeah.
all the pink ribbon, all
Right.
the awareness endeavors, the walks and everything
Yeah.
has really stolen
It
a lot
has.
of that thunder, and
Mm-hmm.
it has really empowered women.
But I have to admit, I got to a point where I was like, all right, hold the pink. I mean, people, and they were being nice. I had pink golf balls, pink tee, because I play golf, pink tees, you know, pink, everything pink.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, and I remember saying to my husband, if I never see pink again, I'm going to be fine. You know, because you just wanted to kind of move on past that.
Yeah.
And this is just amazing. But I did have a friend years ago that she lost a breast to cancer. And she just used some kind of it was like I think it's one of those beanbag things. And she had and she worked in a plant. And she leaned over to get something and it fell out into the bin. And I mean, seriously, she was like, oh my gosh, I had to call someone. We had to, you know, go through all that. And this looks like there's no...
It's very secure.
Right.
Yeah.
How
Secure is the word, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Not only that, but you know, if somebody is using something that is not, I mean, like there's a lot of technology that has gone into these breast
I can
forms
tell.
so that somebody is anchored and that there's a natural drape and that everything, you know, if you don't have enough weight, your bra is going to ride up, your other
Right.
breast is going to pull things up. I mean, it's gravity and things, and you know, you don't want to be, you know, walking past and seeing yourself and not have being
Right.
being symmetrical.
Right.
You know, nobody, you know, the whole thing is, and just that how you don't really, you know, appreciate all the pink or anything like that. Some people are
I've
very
gotten over it,
open.
obviously.
Yeah, they are beautiful in pink.
Thank you.
But sometimes some women want to shout it from the rooftops that they are a survivor. There are other people that don't want to tell somebody that
Right,
they're
that's
a
very
survivor. They're very private about it. And you know, regardless, I sometimes have a woman that tells me that she goes into her, you know, beauty shop and flashes them and shows them all of her beautiful
Right.
bras that she got from Seeley Medical, you know, and
Really?
she's so enthusiastic and everything. But for the woman who doesn't do that, she's you know, nobody knows that she had surgery, and she is not portraying to anybody that she had surgery,
Right.
and that's just as important, you know.
Right.
Sure.
Right. 'Cause
Well,
they're-
if you watched the game yesterday, the football players, of course, all this month are wearing the pink shoes. And
I love it.
even the referee had a pink whistle.
I noticed that too.
I know.
I love
I
it.
noticed that too all the time that he would.
Great presentation today, girls. I really appreciate getting
Thank you
hold
so
of
much
me.
for having us today.
Oh yeah, and
I was glad my mom called and
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
I thought I remember Seeley Medical, you telling me that Seeley Medical had this program. That's
Wonderful, right?
You know, we are out on the road a lot. We don't have access a lot with our territories to listen to the radio or watch TV. So my mom was the one that actually said, you need to call, you need to send an email.
Yes, you
Because
did,
women
and I'm
don't
glad you
know.
did, Catherine.
And they
Thank
don't
you.
know. And I'm glad that we're able to do this because awareness is everything.
Right.
Yes.
And let's
So-
face it, with women, word of mouth is probably the best way to get
Exactly,
information
exactly.
around. So
And our little town, I am from Conneaut, so even though we're here, you know, you don't have to drive to Cleveland
Right.
or Erie
That's-
or Youngstown.
And I just found out
To
today that
obtain it.
Kathy went to school with my son.
I
Is that
did,
correct?
and Terry.
And Terry,
Right.
and your daughter.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
a small
Terry's
world.
getting her first mammogram. This, you know, you're supposed to do it at a certain age.
Yes.
And so she called and her doctor wanted to know everything, you know, about me. So,
It's important.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
important,
it's
especially
right.
if you have a family history.
right.
Early detection, and the one thing, the one thing that I want to make sure everybody knows is when you're scheduled for that surgery, and you know your life. I mean, cancer is through my family quite a bit, and when that diagnosis hits, you know your life is never the same.
Never the same.
Never. As a person that has it, as a family member that has it. So when you're going in for that surgery, know that your doctor might not even know. Your doctor might not know what's available.
Right,
So
that's
step
very
up and
true.
say, you know, I know that I'm probably able to get these products because Jacqueline's program she can step in before that surgery even happens. And if not getting the product, you know, a week or two ahead of time, it might only be a day or two, but she'll walk you through the process. So that physician might not be the one to say, hey, I've got this. You need to say it.
Right.
Or your
And
family needs to say
And to
it.
let them know the other resources that are available through the American Cancer Society, you know, and so that somebody is able to maybe participate in the Look Good, Feel Good programs that are offered. you know, that's part of my job is to also make sure that somebody knows about other resources.
You said
that's
that
available.
earlier too. Ask questions, don't
Yeah.
afraid to speak up.
They're not
Right,
afraid to
and
speak
it
up.
was when I was going through my treatment, I went up and stayed with my daughter that lives in Strongsville, so I could drive myself in back and forth. And they actually offered for women like me, we could get a massage, make an appointment to get a massage. I had my nails done. It was just real, you know, instead of just, you know, sneaking in and getting your treatment, sneaking out, and just going home and being sad, which, you know, I mean, it is what it
yeah,
is. So, right, and I would go and I'd like to go into the little coffee shop. The one thing that I had issue with was I had radiation and I really got burned and itchy. And I asked the doctor, I said, isn't there something that I can use? Well, he said, you know, the over-the-counter, my daughter uses it on her baby. But now I noticed that I was looking somewhere, and there's now a special product for that purpose, and I can't remember the name of it, but it has a
It's
little,
Lindy Care.
yes, it is Lindy Care, and a little boutique-y looking bottles, you know, and so forth. So,
Completely safe.
right.
Yeah.
And that was something that I, just at the very end of mine, and I ended up with a faster radiation. They called it a short-term, 16-day short course or something, where they increase the radiation. And, you know, it's freaky. They set you all up and then they run for the hills, and you're just lying there thinking, geez, I hope this is aiming at the right place.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and you know, and keeping in mind too that your physician's job is saving your life.
Right.
You know, and so
Whatever it
that's
takes.
that's what you're speaking to your physician about. You're really not, but you know, probably thinking about items
How about
such
afterwards?
as this,
Right.
and like maybe that that you're not supposed to use the box hair dyes anymore. Well, if you're speaking with someone, consulting with somebody that has a lot of experience, we're able to point you in the direction to say there is a vegetable dye,
Right.
that is completely safe during chemotherapies that you could be using, or the different skin cares, and maybe going to one of the programs that Look Good, Feel Good, so that your outward appearance does not show that you're in treatment.
That's good.
Very good, girls. Good job today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. Come back and see us again.